so uh, So handlebar or a steering system when you talk about a four-wheeler. So the shape and grip position of motorcycle handlebars plays a crucial role in defining your riding position on a motorcycle. On other day, like when we were looking into it, we saw that the handlebar are of different shapes. Some handlebars are very close to your the suspension of the cone system that we are talking about. They are very close to that, so you have to bend a bit to hold them. And some are of normal bike when you saw, and those are typically for the racing bikes or the high speed bikes that we talk about. So and secondly, when you talk about normal bikes, they could be like the second first or the second that we are talking about. So they could be in this shape. They would be a bit higher than the normal they would be higher from your cone. So those are normally for the moderate speed bikes. This in turn also defines motorcycle's character in the way it turns around corners, the kind of effort required to put in by the rider, and the comfort on offer. So the handlebar directly proportional to like how much it would turn, at what speed you can turn, you can take sharp turns or not, at high speed you can turn it or not. That is again a question. Then your what is the comfort of the riders, and again like what is the structure of the bike, like how the seat structure has been done, and accordingly your handlebar will be designed so that you have a comfort in riding. So if you talk about high speed bikes, like their handle would be a bit lower than a normal bike, and in a normal bike it would be a bit higher, so that you can like sit straight like without tilting your backbone. You can have a straight backbone, and then also you can ride. At the same time, if it is fast or racing bikes, then you have to like tilt down, and you have to hold the bars in such a in such a way that you, because they are a bit lower than the normal bike. So this in turn also defines motorcycle's character in the way it turns around corners, the kind of effort required to put in by the rider, and the comfort on offer. So even if say if your handlebar is say if it's shorter in a sense, left extension in left direction and right direction, if they are less or if they are more, everything will again change the comfort level of the rider, and at the same time the left and the right turning that you would be taking. So all would be everything would be defined upon on the shape of the handlebar. Handlebar provides a mounting space for controls such as brakes, throttle, clutch, horn, light switches, and rear view mirrors, and they help to support parts of the rider's weight. So when we talk about a handlebar, it is normally not only for turning. So you would see that your meter, or in normally electrical vehicles, the SOC or state of charge, that would be through a meter. So those would be like placed about on the handlebar only. There would be provision on the handlebar where it would be attached. At the same time, the indicator lamps would be there. The throttle or the accelerator that we call about the normal vehicle will also be there on the handlebar only. So and the rear view mirrors, the left and the right rear view mirrors would be also attached on the handlebar only. And at the same time, since you are holding the handlebars and you are a bit tilted, so your weight, part of your weight will also be applied on the handlebars. What this would do is this would apply the weight on the front wheel. It would apply, and it would keep the front wheel like grounded. It won't it would keep the wheel grounded and the bike balanced when it is moving. So handlebar, if you talk about a normal vehicle and an electrical vehicle, there is very less difference between the two, because all the utility switching and all the display and the switches for horn and everything is like mounted on the handlebar only. So normally they are the same for a normal conventional bike and for any EV. So issues related to handlebar: throttle failure, nut loosens due to uneven roads, high handlebar, speed accidents, less rigid material. So like at what points or in what conditions the issues could develop for a handlebar, and what are the issues? You know that as we discussed that the throttle or the accelerators, they are attached on the, or they forms very much the part of the handlebar only. So there might be issues that there could be an issue, or that there could be a failure, or like some wiring that goes from handlebar to different switches on, or to the controller, that might also like break. So that could cause issues in case of like throttle failure. So when there, so as we discussed that the first analog signal that we give to any sort of bike, whether it is a conventional bike or an electrical bike, that is done through a throttle. So the signal, so you feel that you want to increase your speed, so what you would do is, through, you would give an analog signal in form of twisting your throttle, and that signal will be processed in various different ways to either increase the like opening of the fuel injection into the normal IC engine, or sending more increasing the voltage in case of a motor in EV. So if throttle fails, you won't be able to move your vehicle, whether it is a normal IC vehicle or an electrical vehicle, you won't be able to move it. So it's a first point of analog signal that you give the bike for to turn it around or to start it moving. So a nut loosened due to uneven road. So on handlebar is not only attached like to the front suspension system, and also to the chassis, but different other items are also attached to the handlebar. So if you are continuously riding on like uneven roads, or roads full of potholes, so what would happen is that would create vibrations. So definitely, majority of portion of vibrations will be dampened out by the suspension system, the front suspension system, and the rear suspension system. But then also, with course of time, they would be bringing in some some vibrations on the like on the bolts only. So say if even you are using shock absorber washers, if you are using, so that could also stand against these vibrations to an extent. But if continuously you are exposed to such vibrations, then they would result into the loosening of the nuts and the bolts, which might be either supporting different ancillary switches, or directly even the handle could loosen. High handlebar. So at times, what happens is high handlebar, in a sense, like every one of you who are riding your bike, you see that there is a provision of adjusting your handlebar. So either you can bring it a bit down, or you can take it a bit higher depending upon the comfort level. So if, say, according to your height, where you get a comfort, you can adjust to that. So maybe at times, if it is like much higher, and then you have to hold your hands on an angle, and that could again create stress on your in your stress and pain in your hands if you are riding for a longer duration. So should be adjusted in such a way that gives you a comfort. Speed accident. So if there are accidents of collision, like head-on collision, or you get and collide on some standing vehicles or on different vehicles, that could also create problems in handlebar. That could be in form of twisting of handlebars, or even the handlebar may break with time. So less rigid material. So if you're normally, you would see that steel handlebars are mostly used. So they are properly they are rust free. In case of bikes, you would see that they are normally you don't experience rust in the handlebar. So they use a proper material. So if proper material is not used, then they might either be they might either break due to rusting, or if exposed to certain shocks, even a low intensity shocks, then also they could break. So we have discussed upon the handlebar. Apart from the energy or the engine or the battery, and or the motor, and if you can say the controller, the most important part in a vehicle is the braking. So if there is no proper braking in the vehicle, it is useless to drive a vehicle, we everyone knows. So all this put together and no brakes, the vehicle is useless. So braking system is equally important. Excuse me. So the braking system is equally important for a good vehicle. So common principle on which a braking system depends when stopping a vehicle is friction and heat. So how so it's simple, like when you see that you want to slow down your vehicle when it is moving at a speed, then you apply brakes. So and application varies, like again scenario specific. It might be there that you see that it's a red light, like say 100 or 200 meters, like in front of you it's a red light, and you have to break the speed slowly so that you can reach slowly and there is no traffic. So that's a one condition. Then secondly, in abrupt braking, you see that you are riding at a speed and suddenly a dog or some person crosses the road, and you like in like impulsive braking, you could say, like in you react and you apply your brakes. So that is one kind of braking. So your vehicle should be designed in such a way that it could take it. The braking is conditional basis. It's not that it would react like only in one particular way, like when you apply a brake. So what a human, like how you, as we said, the throttle is meant for sending a analog signal and to drive the vehicle. The braking is again an analog signal to stop the vehicle. So these are opposite two systems. So but in braking, how a human behaves when it is normal braking, he would apply the brake slowly, and when it is an impulsive braking, he will apply the brake at as hard as possible. So braking in full speed, braking very hard is again very, it's not normally, it's not safe. You are stopping a vehicle, but you are again inviting bigger problems for you. Your vehicle might tumble, or you could slide, and it could hurt you more than it might have hurted you without applying the brake. So those conditions should be there in a vehicle. So a good braking system is like the worst of the conditions when you apply brakes, and maybe like you apply light or hard brake, it should do it should do its function that it is meant for. And most important, the rider and the pillion safety. So it like breaks down, stops the vehicle, and the rider and the pillion is safe. So brakes are a must and a primary function for safety. Okay, so like brakes should be designed in that way for any vehicle, so that they takes care of these two conditions, when you are either applying brakes in a normal lighter mode, and when you are applying them hard. So in both conditions, it should be it should react in such a way that the rider and the pillion is not hurt. By applying resistance or friction to a tunneling wheel, a vehicle's brake cause the wheel to slow down and eventually stop creating heat as a byproduct. So what we do is, when you are applying heat, definitely there the wheel, the rear or the front wheel, when we are applying both brakes, in the rear and the front brakes, what they do is they tend to slow down both the wheel. So they would be again creating friction. They would be uh, uh, the brakes that you will be applying would be trying to hold the vehicle. So friction would be developed, and on byproduct of friction would be heat. The heat would be developed. So the components that we are using should be such that they doesn't wear off very easily when high temperature is developed, and also at the same time the braking system doesn't do harm to the wheels also. So when you and the rate at which a wheel can be slowed depends on several factors, including vehicle weight, braking force, and total braking surface area. So for a good, first of all, a braking system meant for slowing down the vehicle, and at the same time maintains the safety of the driver and the pillion. Okay. Secondly, the braking system should be such that it brings the vehicle to stop, but at the same time they should not there should be not a very fast wear and tear, and at the same time they should not be also harming the wheels and other parts of the vehicle. Okay. And third, the how the braking system would be designed, it would depend totally, it would depend upon the kind of the vehicle for which we are designing the braking system. So it is a, if it is a two-wheeler, then it would be different. If it is a four-wheeler, then it would be different. It is three-wheeler, it is different. So depending upon the weight, the dead weight of the vehicle, the gross vehicle weight that we spoke about depends upon them, and how much like how many people could sit into it, and how much like material we can load it. So everything will depend upon the weight, gross vehicle weight, and how much we can load it. Everything will depend upon that. So now we will be discussing about more on the types of the brakes. So first is the hydraulic disc brakes. So we start with the disc brake. So you normally see that in two-wheelers, it is very well like marketed that this bike comes with a hydraulic brakes. Some would say that it has a rear hydraulic brake. Some would say that both rear and front are hydraulic brakes. Some would say that only front wheel is like hydraulic brake. So what does hydraulic brakes normally happens? In case of hydraulic brakes, what happens is like your the braking system, the brakes in your hand, or when you are applying through your foot. So what happens is when you are applying your brake, what happens is like with the help of the oil that is filled like in a pipe, that is filled in the pipe, through that there is a like there is a wheel, there is a like disc attached to the wheel, and that disc caliper, you could see this green structure, that is called the caliper. So that is again mounted on the, that holds that doesn't touches the your disc, but it is on like it is the wheel is in between the calipers. In the blue colors that you can see, they are the brake pads. Okay. And the red thing that you can see, it is the piston. And actual wheel hub, you can see it. So what happens is the disc that is attached to the wheel. So this when you're applying the brakes, the oil is pushed, the oil the when you apply a brakes, the surface, the volume of the volume in the pipe, what you do is you pressurize this oil in the pipe, which pushes this piston, due to which this blue, that the portion that is static, it doesn't move, and this like right hand side portion that moves, which is pushed by the piston. So what happens is when you apply the brakes, this piston pushes this brake pad, and they try to hold this, or this wheel, so which is again attached to the main wheel. So this they will try to hold this disc, and which again is attached to the wheel, and they will try to bring it to halt, or will try to bring it to, will slow it down, and will try to bring the vehicle to halt. So this is the typical structure of the, or typical working of the hydraulic disc brakes that we talk about. It is it forms the part of two-wheelers as well as four-wheelers also. Normally disc brakes are being used. So these brake pads that we are talking about, for idle braking, there should be, when the vehicle is moving, this disc should not touch this pads. If they are touching, that would cause resistance, unnecessary you could say that unnecessary like wastage of energy, and at the same time it would be again what it would be doing is it would be affecting this disc as well as the brake pads. So there will be a like a very fast wear and tear of this brake pads, and also there would be wear and tear of disc brakes. There could be like issues if this pad keeps on like it's like it doesn't relieves. When you're relieving the brake, these pads should also instantly should relieve, and they should not touch. If these pads are not relieved, then what it would cause, it would cause the heating of this disc, and it might like turn red hot also in some cases, and might cause like can be a cause of fire also. Okay. So like what are the advantages? Low wear rate, equal braking effort, and smooth and effective. So this is morely smooth and effective, and it is more effective than the normal drum brakes that we talk about. So it brings the vehicle like to halt in much lower reaction time than the normal drum brakes that we talk about, which we will be discussing in the next slide. So the springs, the spring is a component that generates force proportional to its displacement. A coil spring is made of a resilient steel rod. It extends as the wheel moves down and compresses as the wheel moves up, so the car body remains reasonably level. So the spring that we are talking about, the main function of the spring is to normally to when we are applying a force, it transfers the force. When we are applying force from one end, it transfers to the next to the next end, but that would be relatively done at a within a time frame. The reaction would not be instant on the other end. The dampers generate force proportional to the rate of change of displacement. Dampers, commonly called shock absorbers, perform the function. A damper has a piston that moves inside sealed oil-filled cylinder with the up and down movement of the wheel. So these are like a shockers that we call. So in shockers, what happens is the oil is filled. So normally spring is there and also oil is filled. So that what does that takes care of? That takes care of the damping. So this forms part of the suspension system. So sorry, a bit of disturbance in between. So this springs and dampers that we are talking about, these are the part of the suspension system of any vehicle. Okay, so they can be normally they could be the suspension system. If you talk about, there are different suspension systems like rear and the front suspension system. So in case of bikes, if you talk about, there is a fork like structure for the front suspension. So we all the dampers or the shockers that we call about. So normally they are shock absorbers, and in common language we call them shockers. So they are like in telescopic structure. Telescopic in a structure, the one portion goes into another when there are vibrations or when the road condition is bad. When you are driving through a bad road, they would take care of the major dampening of the shocks that would be experienced while riding. And the damper generate force proportional to the rate of change of displacement. Dampers, commonly called shock absorbers, perform this function. A damper has a piston, okay, that moves inside a sealed oil-filled cylinder with the ups and down movement of the wheel. So you could see that there is oil and there is a piston, and there would be always the gap would be there. And when there would be a lot of vibrations would be there, then this would keep on moving up and down to take care of the vibration. So at the concept of the shock absorbers or the suspension system that we talks about is, first of all, that the vibrations or the extreme road conditions that the vehicle is facing, that won't be transferred to the people sitting in the vehicle or the people driving the vehicle, and at the same time it will not also affect all other components that those are nut bolted on the vehicle. So if continuously vibrations passes to these parts, you would find out that in after very few a few days, either some bolts will fall down due to vibration, the bolts will unlock and they will fall down. So if you really want to experience a ride without suspension system, then the best is that you ride in a tractor, and or you could say the trolley that is attached to the tractor. If you sit in that hardly has a very good suspension system. They only use normally for suspension, they don't use springs. And also when you travel in that trolley, you will experience what kind of it is like when you are riding on a bad road with no suspension system. So how important the suspension system is, when you sit on the trolley in a tractor and then you ride, then only you will be able to you can visualize that how important suspension system is for any vehicle. So let's talk about the wheel system. So we spoke about different components, but at the same time, the wheel, the braking system, we said that how important a braking system is for the safety, and but at the same time the wheel is also equally important. So now in modern like vehicles, we are finding these alloy wheels happening. Otherwise, before this, you would find that in like in bikes, you were getting those in you were getting spokes. You were getting, okay. So in cycles, still you get spokes only, but in new latest models of bikes also, you are not getting spokes, but you are getting alloy wheels. So what does like alloy wheel? What is the biggest like advantage of alloy is, first of all, they are very light. Since alloy has been used like it's a component mixture of different uh, it's a composition of different metals or elements, so it is like different, definitely it gives you a robustness to your to your rim. So at the end of the day, like you have a, like if you talk about a wheel, like wheel, what forms a wheel? Rim over which a rubber tire is mounted, and your tire could either be like it could be tube tire or a tubeless. So normally, even in the modern in tires, you are mostly seeing tubeless tires are very much popular in the modern vehicles. So alloy wheels are generally made from an alloy of aluminum or magnesium. So aluminum because it's very light in weight, and or with a composition of magnesium to give a robustness. And process of manufacturing alloy wheels are casting, forging, and sheet metal processes. So casting, if I talk about casting, normally casting is like you form a mold, and in which you you fill metal into it, and like whatever the shape you the molten metal takes a shape like of the mold, and you get a finished product. Then you can do the machining over that, and you get the final product. So forging, in case of forging, what you do is like with the help of with the help of some heavy load, what you're doing, you do constant beating to give it a shape. Okay, so in that case, what you are doing is like you are the single piece is like given a shape through beating, and like into a desired shape what you want. And sheet metal process, you know that it is like either it is cut into, like with the help of sheets, it is cut, and then it is given a desired shape. There could be welding involved into it, but mostly in case of casting and forging, there are no welding involved in it. With the help of the beating and or the with the help of the mold, you give desired shape, and then they are machined to make reach to the level of precision, and to make a balanced make any the component that you are making, you make it in the balance so that it could be usable. Secondly, what we spoke about is a tube and a tubeless tire. So in case of a tube, what happens is you have like normally we everyone knows that from cycle to like all different vehicles up to the level of the truck, you get tube tire. So in tube tire, you put a tube and over that the rubber tire is mounted. So you fill the air into the tube, and the rubber portion takes care of the conditions of the road, that doesn't exposes the tube, and the air that you have filled into the tube, that takes care of the that maintains the pressure level in the tire, and that gives a better reduces the rolling resistance, and gives a better better movement to the vehicle. So less least what is the main function of the tire is to reduce the rolling resistance to, because if you make them say they are yeah, kind of the tires are like circular, if we make them in different shapes, then we won't be able to drive a vehicle, because at the end of the day, the surface area where the pressure would be, or the resistance that would be applied, would be much higher. So in case of tires, we are trying to we are trying so that the least resistance is applied when a vehicle is moving. They are designed in such a way. Now the concept of tubeless tires have come. So it is said that tubeless tires, in case of tubeless tires, so in case of tube tires, say if a puncture develop, or say for some iron particle, or some other particles gets into the tire, it deflates instant, in instant it deflates. Okay, so instant deflates, so because of the weight of the vehicle or different conditions, it will deflate and it will like the tires will like become flat and there would be movement. But in case of tubeless tire, if we talk about, you, it gives you a time like certain kilometers it gives you before it deflates completely. It deflates. So whatever the puncture it develops, so it won't deflate in like in instant, even because of the high weight of the vehicle. So it would give you some kilometers or some time it will give you before you can reach to say some petrol pump or some place where you can get the puncture done. Okay, so that is the like uh, uh, benefit that we have with the tubeless tire, but definitely they comes with a cost. So they're like rubberizing and everything is uh, more than what a normal tire with tube tire has. So they would be costing a bit higher than a normal tire. So key benefits of alloy wheels. So lightweight are very much suited to racing, provides a smart makeover, provides a fantastic road grip, bit costly, but their value offsets the cost. So alloy wheels that we spoke about definitely are lighter weight. So in any case, they are best suited to the electrical vehicles, because in any case, we are looking at one or the other way where we can get robustness and get lesser weight. So alloy wheels suits to electrical vehicles very well and are very much suited to racing, even for like where you want to develop high speeds, and add that to like when you are accelerating at a very like say very less time frame if you want to accelerate. So you would be seeing that there are vehicles which claims that in let's say 5 seconds you reach to 0 to 60 kilometers. So for that the two major components are either your engine should be that strong, you keep a very high strong engine or a very strong motor, or at the same time or you equivalently reduce the weight of the vehicle. So both would be playing a very important role when you want to accelerate fast. Provides a smart makeover, definitely it improves the aesthetics of the vehicle. You see that if you are using a spoke tires in any of your vehicle to like in a bike, then vis-a-vis if you are using these alloy wheels in your vehicle, that improves the look and structure of your vehicle. Provides a fantastic road grip, it gives you a good road grip. And they doesn't say what happens is in case of a spoke tire, that are the spoke, if you like account for or you count for, they are like in hundreds of numbers. So if say they are properly balanced and everything, but if there is an issue, say some one spoke breaks down, then it will imbalance the entire tire. It will imbalance, and that again will cause like problems for your like movement of the vehicle. But in case of alloy wheels, there are only, it is supported by 3 or 4 structures only, it will support it. So and the chances of them breaking down is very very less. Okay, and at the same time, say if you are entering into like say suddenly you there is a like a pit in between the road, and you are driving at a speed and you fall into that like pit. So very high chances that the spoke tires would bend or deform, but it would be better taken care of when you are using alloy wheels. So that gives you a sturdiness to your tire and more reliability to your tire. A bit costly, but their value offsets the cost. So definitely they are a bit costly, but the advantages that they bring to the vehicle are far higher than what we have to spend more on the tires. And at the same time, we as we spoke about and normally in modern vehicles, leaving out very few models, they are coming up with alloy wheels only. So maintenance, if maintenance we speak about, so here we are like more concentrated and more focused on maintenance of an electrical vehicle vis-a-vis a normal conventional vehicle. So in normal in EV, if you talk about what additional items we have motor, we have a controller, we have a battery pack, and these are the different uh, components other than all the major components that we have in normal bike only. So we have to take care of that, where we, what kind of like where we are placing our motor. We have to be very careful about. So if you talk about motor placement, the chassis would have definitely will have a like provision for placement of the motor when we have to make a selection whether we are using a mid drive or whether we are using a hub motor. And at the same time it will be directly fitting into the chassis, but we will be having some kind of an annexure on through which the motor would be fitted. The same thing is with the battery. So when you are wherever you are placing the battery, you have to take care of that the battery is placed in such a way that it maintains the like center of gravity of the vehicle, and at the same time it is not exposed to like direct sunlight and direct like water getting into the battery. It is not exposed in such a way that it is properly insulated through for and properly like protected from water and air. Thirdly, it should be placed in such a way that it is not exposed to constant vibrations and constant shocks. Okay, so these things are something that we have to keep in mind when we are designing in the chassis or the other components, other iron frame components of vehicle. Using suitable frames, we can do it using suitable controlled welding at joints, mid drive assembly, and any wear and tear. So these should be every time we should be noting this, that there are like the joints that they are in the chassis or the annexures which are jointed with the help of the nut and bolt. They are either not losing out, or the joints are not cracking, or they are not exposing to like high intensity shocks so that they break. So these things we should be monitoring every time. We should be monitoring for a proper functioning of the vehicle. Any wear and tear like nut and bolt losing out, and they might cause problems when we are driving at a faster speed, so they should be properly monitored. Mostly like it is advisable that we use shock absorbing washers with the wherever there are moving parts and
अच्छा ठीक है okay.
which are exposed to shocks and which are exposed to vibration. So this was like today, like whatever additional components that we were supposed to discuss other than the frames that we discussed in the last session. So these were the additional that we would be attaching to the frame to get to the to so that the vehicle gets to the desired format. So like till now where we have reached, like if we talk about like a designing phase, like we have been successful and we have discussed about like how we would be developing a very robust and robust and good frame or a chassis. And secondly, the additional components, how we would be attaching to the chassis. So additional component, so these are like two sessions that we took about. We were concentrated mostly on the iron or the metal parts of a vehicle. So we are not touched upon the critical components of the or the primary components of the vehicle, but these were the components, iron parts or the metal parts of a vehicle, which are very very important at times. Maybe they, because they are not exposed and they can't be seen like through your naked eye, and their performance also, like you can't judge their performance through any parameters, because you know battery, you know for about motor, you know about controller, you know, but these are some parts which you can be only analyzed when you properly like monitor them from time to time. So these, in two sessions we were trying to stress upon how important these parts are. Other than the most important component, these are equally important. So whenever you are going for a selection of any vehicle or any designing of any vehicle, so these critical components should be properly studied and should not be neglected at. So this was like these two sessions were like meant to cover the criticality of the metal parts or the and the frame and the metal parts. So Rohit, we can take like questions and answers. So students can ask question and answer related to the last session and this session both.
Yes, sir. This is Renka, sir. From my
Yeah, hi Renuka. Renuka, so like students can put their queries. So if they want to ask from the last session and this session, because this was again an extension of last session only. Okay. So for both sessions, any queries and a small request that we focused on the topics that we have discussed, because we will be covering every topic related to the vehicle. So instead of jumping like straightforward to battery or motors, we like focused questions more on the topics that we have discussed. So we have a more like better understanding of these things that we have taught.
Okay, sir. Definitely, sir.
So students, you can either start posting like in the chat box, or you can like raise your hands.
Raise your hands, okay? So who are having a queries, please raise your hands, okay? I'm just going to give the give the options for the mute option, unmute option.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Uday.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Go ahead.
So, sir, I have a doubt. Like in IC vehicles, we have like a hand brakes and some other brakes in at the leg.
Yeah.
So the same will be there in EVs also.
EVs normally, like, we would have hand brakes, to be very frank. And if we are using because why even your foot brakes could be also there, but in EVs, what we are doing when we are applying the brakes, okay, simultaneously what we are doing is we are also cutting the the power supply to the motor also, because we have to do the dual things. Okay, so only applying the brakes won't serve our purpose. So when we are applying a brakes, simultaneously the power to the motor is also cut off. So both things takes care of like bringing the vehicle to to position of stationary.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
So both is possible. Normal handbrakes are being used in electrical two-wheelers. If you talk about in four-wheelers, definitely yes, both like foot operated, and this is used. But we have to take care that whenever we are whatever brakes we are applying, so at the same time it should have a provision, or it should have a provision that the power supply is also cut off to the motor.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you.
So Arvind, you have any query, because you said that you are developing your own prototype also, EV prototype also. So you have faced any issues over there you want to like discuss, or we can have, if you have any query or anything.
No, sir. No, sir. My prototype belongs to what will say automatic charging.
Okay.
With the rotation of the wheels. From the rotation of the wheels, we are extracting energy so that we can charge the second battery or the same battery. So that was the doubt I asked in the
yeah. But that is like how much like you are like incremental energy. Definitely there won't be incremental.
Sir, we are what will say. We are thinking to extract the same amount of energy return back.
That I think according to the it's not possible as per the like equation of energy law is it is not possible. Definitely you can have some like some solar attachment or few things like that, so that you can get some additional energy.
Sir, if you have the idea about the Ather scooter engine, they have used what will say 2 gear systems to increase that rotor. So the second gear which is used is just rotating. So from at that place, if you keep any generator or a motor or a turbine, it generates some sort of energy from that gear. So that
no, understand that is like see, that is again concept of free wheel. You have
similar to 5-wheel technology.
Same concept. So but at the same time, when you have to rotate it, that heavy, because that has to be some has to have some weight. So so when you're initially like moving it, so you have to put in like some effort so that it can like store energy. It's kind of a like the free will is like kind of a, it stores some kind of energy and then it gives you back. So any way you get into the depth, definitely you are working on a like research project, you go ahead, but you keep in mind that how much incremental energy is you are getting. Say if you remove your like auto charging and then you see what mileage the vehicle is giving at certain condition, and at the same time like when you are making this attachment work, how much energy that you are getting, you like keep on like keep on collecting the data also at the same time, okay, in different conditions.
Yes, still we are in the theoretical background only. Still we have not started making the prototype. We are seeking for the design and the motor which will best suit and how to extract the energy. We are on the theoretical calculations, sir. Still not started a prototype building also. So that's why we are seeking for information
this is
from where we can.
this is a college-based project, or you are doing it like?
It's a group of members projects. Actually, this idea is raised in the college. One of our professor gave us a suggestion that in EV field can we do auto charging technology? Why? Because the future is demand to electric vehicles, right? So there will be shortage of charging issues and charging stations also. So instead of seeking for the charging stations, let's hope for we can will say generate self-charging, or will say.
So this this second that you are like talking about, one important concept that when work is like the regenerative braking that takes care.
Similar to regenerative in Tesla Model S, what Elon Musk has done when braking is applied, 2 to 3% increase in the battery. Same pattern, but differently we are trying. Okay. Sir, today and yesterday you said about the ANSYS part, thermal analysis of the chassis. Sir, their red zones will be the more heated zones now, sir.
I could not get you. Can you repeat, because I could not hear properly?
If you open the, I think red zones will be the more heavy heated zones, right? Then blue zones.
No, they are like high stress. Like when you are applying to the maximum stress, they will break down the last. Like they
deformation will be more there, right, sir?
Yeah. So no, what they have done is they have applied different stresses at like say they started with 1 Newton, 2 Newton, 3 Newton, 4 Newton, 5 Newton. At what forces which portion will break? Okay. So highest they have kept red zone. So at red zone, those parts will will deform or will be like will crumble at the maximum stress. So that was representation only. No, heat was like not studied over here. Like effect of heat was not studied here. Only stress level was studied. Yeah, stress level was studied. So that was defined into different color zones. So highest stress level that was defined by red.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else, like, yes, you should ask like questions, like whatever, any small, bigger, whatever doubt you have, you can ask. So Lakhan has a query.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Lakhan.
Sir, what are the major factors we should consider while designing this chassis?
Can you speak a bit louder? Actually, your voice is very low.
What are the major factors we should consider while designing this chassis, sir?
So chassis, like as we discussed in last like session only, when you are designing a chassis, the first thing is like the material that you would be using. Okay. So first it starts with a material. Then secondly, you have decided upon the material. Second step is like you could study with the help of the software. That you will be coming with a design, okay, of some chassis. Okay, so that design is how much robust the design is, that you can do with the help of the simulators. You can like which portion would be exposed to stress and everything that you have to discuss. And thirdly, when you are before this design, first of all you have to decide like which component you will be placing where, because if you talk about like motor, controller and your battery, that they are not available in a normal IC engine. So the frame of an IC engine and like EV will not be same. Okay, so they would be different. So secondly, like before designing, you have to keep in mind that you have to place these three components somewhere in the vehicles. Okay, so when you are placing them, it should be placed in such a way that the center of gravity of a vehicle is maintained. It is normally, ideally, we should be maintaining in between the wheelbase. So wheelbase is the distance between the midpoints of the front and the rear tire. So it should be somewhere in middle, and it should be as low as possible. So if it is as low as possible, the stability of the vehicle is maintained. So this is a designing factor, and when you have designed it, the material and the design you can like cross check with the help of the simulation software that we spoke about. By applying different types of stress, you can check them. So these 3 or 4 steps are the most important steps that you do when you are designing a chassis. So material is very important. At the same time, placements of your components. Thirdly, maintaining the center of gravity is very important. And at the same time, the chassis also is a your product look and aesthetics is a byproduct of your chassis only. So what kind of bike or a scooty or a model you want to produce, so at your chassis should be designed in such a way that you come up with that kind of model. Okay, 5 points are the most important that you have to keep in mind when you are developing a chassis. So placement of components, maintenance of center of gravity, and the material of the chassis. And material of the chassis also covers that you need to keep the chassis structure robust, and at the same time also as light as possible.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, comparing IC engine vehicle and electric vehicle, both of them, I mean, the both weights are same, sir. Like battery is more heavier than IC engine, no, sir?
No, engine is more heavy than a battery. And at the same time, it would also see the weight of the battery is directly proportional to the capacity of the battery or the age of the battery. Okay, so say if you want to have a mileage of 120 kilometers, your battery will be heavier, and if you want to have a mileage of only 60 kilometers, so the battery will be less heavier. So the weight of the battery will be directly proportional to the capacity of the battery.
Okay. And
so normally effort is being made that you place your battery on the center of the gravity of the of the vehicle. So what happens is, even if your age of the battery or the size of the battery also changes, it doesn't affect the stability of the vehicle.
Okay, sir. And about the braking, EV vehicles have more torque and pickup, no, sir?
Yeah.
So how means the braking should be more precise, I mean more effective.
So effective in a sense, like the initial torque that we talk about is very high in case of electrical motors. Okay, so when it has a certain velocity, and like when you apply brakes, you don't apply brakes like when before starting you don't apply brakes. Okay, normally brakes roll comes when your vehicle is driving. So maybe if you are driving at a very constant speed for a longer duration, then your the question of high torque will not arise. Only the torque will play a part in the when you initiate your vehicle, when you bring it from the position of rest to motion. At that time, torque will play a very important part. Okay,
sir.
Braking system normally you have to break down the velocity. So if your electrical vehicle is at 60 km/h and your normal vehicle is at a 60 km/h, then braking would be same depending upon the weight of the vehicle and it is the loading of the vehicle. And second important point is, in case of electrical braking, what you do is you have to cut on the electrical supply. Otherwise, if you're not cutting on the electrical supply, the power from the battery will tend it will keep on trying to turn the vehicle. So when you are applying the brakes, it's like normal phenomena, or that when you apply the brakes, the power to the motor also like is cut off. Equally, parallelly, it is also cut off.
Okay, sir.
Sir, I have one doubt regarding chassis.
Yeah.
So what is the thickness of the chassis, sir?
See,
Like that
chassis.
sheet?
It is not normally, chassis is not made up of sheets. It's normally it uses either pipes, or it uses like angles and bars. Okay.
Yeah.
It could be MS bars or SS bars. It would be using. So thickness, as we spoke about, like it is again directly proportional to material that you are using. Okay. And and the if you are using say aluminum, the thickness might be a bit more, or if you are using an like MS, the thickness would be different. So it would be directly dependent upon the like material you will be using. And definitely, like you want to keep the weight of the vehicle like as low as possible. So your thickness would be, everything would be depending upon all those things. So
Yes,
no,
sir.
like we cannot standardize like it would be the thickness. Like if you are using like a square pipe, if you are using, then it would be like 10 mm or 12 mm. So that can be standardized at only design level. So like what kind of bike you are designing.
Yeah. Okay, sir. And one more doubt, like for this, if the chassis is with MS sheet,
Yeah.
then definitely there will be short blasting.
Yeah.
So if that is a pipe, is short blasting is that much effective in the inner side?
So short blasting in a sense, like you can it won't be like short blasting. There is also, it's called like sand blasting. It is there. Okay. Normally pipes that you see, like bigger pipes, before they are being painted, they're like sand blasted. So short blasting, what short blasting is normally done for the dies, for which normally done for dies. Okay. So for smaller components. Okay. So but in here it would be done, mostly it would be done sand blasting before being painted.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Because normally when the pipe is there, not an issue, but when it would be welded at some portion, that you will be facing issues. So either you could grind that those portions properly, or you can sandblast those to make them even.
Yeah. Okay, sir. What if the material is aluminum?
Material is aluminum, but you will be like it would be lighter, but you will be missing the robustness, like it would like if you are using a like longer pipe, then there is a tendency that it would like the bending moment is very low in case of aluminum, if you speak about. So aluminum can be used at parts, but normally aluminum as a material is not suggested for like vehicles. It could have it can be an alloy, but not pure aluminum is not suggested mostly.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Lakhan want to ask again. I think he has raised his hand again.
Sir, hello.
Yeah, Lakhan.
Sir, can you explain once again about the throttle failure, sir?
Throttle failure.
Yes, sir.
So normally, what a throttle is? Throttle is the like a component through which you send the analog signal that will be converted into the performance of your vehicle. Okay, so analog in a sense, like you thought about rising the speed of your vehicle or bringing down the speed of the vehicle. That would be done through the throttle. So, if there is a failure of throttle, so what kind of failures could occur in a throttle? So the throttle contains a sensor. Okay, what that sensor do is that coordinates with the controller. So how much, at what angle you are changing the position of the throttle, that would be recorded by that sensor, and a signal would be sent to the controller. So controller would convert that analog signal into digital signal, and will again instruct will give again a voltage signal to the motor to either increase the speed or decrease the speed. So this is the way the throttle, controller and the motor are coordinating with each other. So throttle failure can be like this, sensor is like sensor fails down or some wire breaks down. So there wouldn't be a signal, analog signal won't be, we won't be able to send the signal to the controller. At the same time, there is a 5-volt supply that goes to the throttle, and this when you like change the position of the throttle, that the signal is converted into the form of the voltage only that reaches to the to your controller. So if supply is also disturbed, the throttle will not work. So this coordination will be disturbed. So these are some factors in which cases the throttle breaks down, or some wire is disconnected. So it also, the wire comes through a wiring harness to the throttle. So if it is disconnected, if it is broken also, then that also the functioning of the throttle would be disturbed. So these are the normal failures which occurs in a throttle.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
One more person, like administrator, he has raised his hand. We are not able to see his name. He has not changed his name, actual name.
Actually, I asked my doubt, sir.
Okay. You are done.
Yes, sir.
So more students, if you want to ask anything small, big, don't like hesitate in asking. Okay. Many of you would be thinking that, or if there is any language barrier, it would also be again translated, not an issue. But you please ask your questions, queries, whatever is there. We are still waiting for your queries, guys. If you have any query, you can ask. Otherwise, then we have to again, like, we'll move ahead otherwise with the. So guys, like we have discussed on the history of the electrical vehicles, then we have discussed on the scenario of the electrical vehicles. We have also discussed upon the components. We started with the components, the basic components, the frames we have discussed, and the other components that are attached to the frames, that also we have discussed. So these are 4 topics that we have cleared. We have presented, or we have had sessions on. So anyone want to ask any query related to them, they are very welcome. And we have another 4-5 minutes. If you don't get query, then we have to we have to move ahead with the other things. Lakhan has raised his hand. He has again, you have some query, Lakhan?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So Rohit, I think that like students are mostly, they are done with the queries because they are not asking many queries. So maybe we can like update them about the this case studies and.
Yes, sir. I already shared, sir, okay, regarding about the of every lead wise, every team wise, I already shared the topic.
Okay. So regarding the topic, they want to ask any query, then Navangshu ji is there, I am there. So like we can we will address to their queries if they have anything regarding to the topics that they have been given. So students, every one of you have received the like respective topics and you every one of you know about your groups and your group has been given a topic. So like you want to ask anything, you have any doubt that you want to clarify, then you can ask them, because I think related to session you are done, you are no one is asking any query. So we can take this now. Nabhangshu ji?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Guruji.
should we wait for Sujoy ji or like we can start taking the
Rohit, are you there?
I think Renuka is there. Renuka is
Yes,
representing.
sir. And there's
Renuka is there.
Yeah, I think now you can share about the case studies and announce the group. I think the participant know about their groups.
yes, sir. Everyone they know about that.
Group
Okay,
also, and they know about the
this
topics also.
participant has any query related to the case studies?
Sir, I'm not received any queries, but I given that today morning only I already shared regarding about the for referral case study. So everyone
Okay.
already go through on it. So students, if anyone is having a queries, how we can going to preparing for the presentation, anything, na? Please ask in the session.
That's what I'm saying. The query in the sense of what they need to do if they are clear about it or not.
Yes, sir.
I think like
Yeah.
we can have a like one-to-one with every group head, so that all the group heads that we have discussed, like team lead that we have discussed. So we can ask team lead one, they could be unmuted and we can discuss. We can ask them that like whether they have any issue, doubt or not. Can we do that, Renuka? Is it like feasible, doable?
Yes, sir, definitely. And first of all, Uday Rajesh, I'm just
Yeah,
please.
you can unmute
Yeah.
him and yeah.
Yes, sir, my doubt is like how many slides should we prepare?
See, Nabhangshu ji, you want to like clarify him like how
Pardon?
he wants to know like how many slides he has to prepare for the presentation.
That I think there is no limit, I believe, on that, but the time frame is there.
Yeah. So since seven groups are there and we have like 120 minutes, so like if we divide it, so how much we get?
We will do in a 2 day, not in
2
on a
days.
single day. It's not
Okay,
won't be
okay.
possible.
Okay. So we have like
Right.
around
So
half an hour we
3-4
have for
groups in a
each.
1 day and
Yeah.
3-4 days. So maybe 5
Yeah.
to 7 minutes they have to
No,
show
more
the
than that.
presentation.
If we are taking like 3-4 groups in a day,
Yeah.
then yeah, maybe you should have a presentation so that you can present it in 15-20 minutes, and then we would be definitely there would be like 5 minutes query Q&A session also we would be having. So accordingly, like you can have like 15-20 minutes of presentation you can have.
Yeah, okay, sir.
So like this slides that you spoke about to clarify, you can give your presentation in a single slide also. You should be able to tell everything that you have gained, and you should be able to like satisfy the people who would be asking queries. So it can be doable in a single slide also. And again, then you are like free, as Nabhangshu ji said, the many slides you want to add. So it should be a 15-20 minutes affair with each and every group. Accordingly,
Yeah.
you can decide. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, Renuka, second team lead.
Next one is the Sai Vamshi Akhil. Please unmute your mic. Vamshi Akhil.
Vamshi Akhil, if you can unmute yourself and you can tell us like any doubt or any issue you have regarding the topics. We can take third in that case. We can keep him for the like after all are done. We can again ask Vamshi to.
Yes, okay. And next for the Shruti. Please unmute your mic.
Evening, sir. Hello.
Yeah, hi Shruti.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, audible.
Sir, my topic is electric vehicle manufacturing startup. What are the contents should be added in it, sir?
So you visualize like it's you are like free to visualize, say you are developing a startup and you want, say in market there are already some vehicles are available, right? So if you have to come up with a startup, it has to be innovative and it has to be different and it has to be like performance oriented. So you put your thought process into it and you come up with a with a presentation and with a case study. That only I can tell you. So it's not limited there. Don't think that you have to you have to follow some theme or you have to be behind. But when you talk about startups are meant for solution and like provider, and they are meant to be innovator. So you can't copy paste something that is already in the market. It has to be something innovative, different, and value addition it should bring in. So accordingly you can like decide and you can come up with a solution. Was that like useful to you, or you are still not like satisfied with my query? Sorry, answer. Okay, so Shruti has said, okay, sir, thank you.
I think that is it for today.
No, still like can we interact with sir? 4 more groups are led, so
Yes,
2 minutes with team lead, and then we can wind up.
Yes, sir. Next is Dinesh.
Hello.
Yes, Dinesh, it's audible.
Yeah, Dinesh.
No, sir. I don't have any doubts, sir. Already Rajesh already raised.
You don't have any query?
No, sir.
Okay, so we are done with Dinesh. Next.
Next is Avinash. Please unmute your mic, Avinash.
Hello.
Yeah, Avinash. Hi.
Sir, can you explain detail about the methodology that you have given?
Methodology in a sense like on your topic that you
Sir, my topic is about EV electronic parts.
Okay.
There are the 3 slides that you have given, that the market scenario, something group owned idea, and there are the 2 slides on technical of startups.
Yeah.
Can you explain more briefly about that?
Yeah, so to explain you more, like on electronics, what is normally used in a vehicle. Okay, so it is what is present in the market, and at the same time what innovation you can bring, or you must be having some thought process in the mind, like how additional things you can bring in to make vehicles more performance oriented or more innovative. So you have to put in like your thought process into that. So you have to study the market also, and you have to bring in your thought process also, some additional value addition you have to also bring.
Okay.
So this guys, to this like case studies is a process, and you have been given like very present topics that are going into the market, so that you can study about them and you can at least know scenario in the market. Okay, and at the same time you can also add value to it, add your thoughts to it. Okay, so everyone should attempt, and as a group everyone coordinate with each and every member of your group, and you everyone work. So because if teamwork is done, like definitely will be coming with a very good like presentation, or with a very good case study. Only a single person working, we can only give one idea, whereas 5 people working can give 5 ideas. So everyone work together and come up with a very good a case study or a solution and presentation, definitely.
Yes, sir. Okay. And next is Sai Teja. Please unmute your mic, Sai Teja.
Hi, Sai Teja, you can unmute and you can ask if you have any query. if anyone is facing issues like they can't unmute themselves or they don't want to unmute, then they can like write on the chat box also. So Vamshi Akhil has said, I have some network issue. So you can like type it out if you want to ask anything, Vamshi. Sai Teja, if you can unmute yourself, we can discuss, or you can like post in the chat box. Renuka, next if we can take, because next taking a lot of time.
Sai Kundan.
Sai Kundan.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So, nothing about the concern, sir. Know about the EV consultancies startup.
Yeah.
And the PPT presentation will be in detail or somewhat like 4 to 5 pages.
It can be 4 to 5 page. Whenever you are like your research should be strong, so that the panel that will be sitting, they would be asking you few queries, you are able to satisfy them. And because if you don't research well, your presentation could be say 2 slides, 3 slides, doesn't matter. But you should have a very strong research so that you could satisfy the panel, who will be asking you some queries regarding your topics. Okay.
Okay,
so
sir.
if you've done well research, good research, if you have studied everything, then it would be like say very few slides can also do the part.
Okay, sir. Sir, it's individual or in a group wise?
No, it's a group activity. So you have been given a group. You also, and you are a team lead of which group?
In group 6, sir.
Group 6. So you have, I think you have 4 members. So every 4 members, all 4 members, you keep in touch with each other, coordinate, and you all work as a team, because it's a team activity, to be very frank. Okay.
Okay.
It's always better with better results, and we have a like a better result when we are working as a team. Okay, so everyone work in a team, coordinate with each team members of yours, and give ideas and come up with a very good research team. And when panel will be sitting, every one of you will be like will be having the authority to answer them and to represent the group. Yeah, Renuka, next we can take.
Sir, everyone is completed, sir.
Yeah, Vamshi said that he has some network issue. Vamshi, you can post it, or if you have any issue, you can post it if you are not able to unmute yourself. And if you don't have any issue, you can.
You also.
Yeah. Yes, Renuka.
Sai Teja, please unmute your mic.
Hello.
Yeah, Sai Teja.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yes, please go ahead, Sai Teja. Sai Teja, if you are facing any technical like issue, you can even post it, like you can post it in the chat box also.
Yeah, sir. He's facing some issues, and
okay.
And Sampath and next Yateshwar, they are from Pranav also. If you're having any doubts, please ask, okay? Because Sai Teja is facing some issues.
Yeah. So any of the group members can also ask if the team lead is not facing some technical issue. The other members can ask. Pranav Sai can ask if he has any issue regarding the topic and anything.
Sir, good evening.
Yeah, Lakhan.
Sir, I'm from the second group, sir. On behalf of Akhil, I can ask question. Can I ask?
Yeah, please.
Sir, our topic is about chassis and body development, sir.
Chassis and
body developments.
Okay.
Sir, can you guide us a little bit how to prepare?
So, Sai, I will like my guidance would be you study like some existing vehicles you study, and you come with some innovation into that existing vehicles only. What innovation you can do. So your research should be based upon the present like vehicles and like what innovation you can do. So you can work on that theory. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Shiva Teja, like you have any query? He has only mentioned that ma'am, it is Shiva Teja ma'am, and nothing much he has written. So guys, we believe that you are done with your queries and even the case study. Not left with any query. Shiva Teja saying I belong group 7, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Shiva.
Sir, actually, it is me, sir, Shivateja, not Sai Teja, who is leading the group 7. Madam, I mistakenly mentioned Sai Teja. So I'm thinking that she will mention my name so that I can be.
So Renuka, like Shiva is not aware that whether he is leading the group or.
No.
It's happening, sir. It's Shiva Teja only.
Yeah.
Yes, Shiva. So you are leading the group 7.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you have any query or you have any doubt regarding like the topics that have been given to you?
No, sir. I have completely known about it.
So Pranav Science said, like, sir, can you tell about homologation startup? So homologation, the process by which, like when you are developing a vehicle, you have to get it homologated. Homologated in a sense, like whatever components that you will be using, like they should adhere to the norms of the like the RTO or the passing agency, ARAI or ICAT. So if you have to like first of all you have like how homologation like consultants are doing their duty, and like how can you play a more part. And mostly like what is happening is still we are seeing that less like efficient and some bikes that are coming which are not adhering to the norms of the government. So your startup should be such that whoever is coming with a better model should be like homologated and passed faster, and everything should adhere to the norms of the government norms that they have decided. Pranav, if you can unmute and if you can ask, like that would be better. Or I have clarified your doubt.
Pranav, please kindly unmute your mic.
I think Pranav, Sampat Kumar, they all have the same query. So any one of them can unmute and can ask like. So Komaraju Hema Sai has asked, good evening, sir. Can you explain EV consultancy startup? So EV consultancy startup in a sense like you want to have a startup which would give you in the for like either EV manufacturing or like adoption of EV. Like how can EV be used in different can be used in different parts of the mobility. Okay, they could be for like a normal passenger vehicle, or they could be even for logistic purposes. So how what kind of startup you can come up with so that the problems that you are seeing in normal life that could be solved through like adoption of EV. Avinash sir, my topic on EV electronics part, should I make case study on EV electronic invention or EV electronic part usage? So like Avinash, like something additional. So if you think that something if added to the normal present EV electronic parts can be like new thing could be added, and that could increase the efficiency of the EV vehicles and can increase the adoption of the EV vehicles, and so do. So inventions are very much welcome. Or your thought process, not just that it should be physical invention, but your thought process and how you want to overcome if any like bottlenecks or challenges are that. So that what we are welcoming. So Renuka, I feel that we have answered like everyone. There are 3 people who have raised their hand. So if we can, yeah, Mohan.
Yes, sir. I have a doubt. Our topic is on electric manufacturing startup. Electric manufacturing startup means only battery, or it includes the full vehicle, sir?
So they are 2 different things. So either it could be like a battery manufacturer is different, and normally what happens is battery manufacturer is different, and like electrical assembler, all manufacturers are different. You have to.
Sir, can you repeat, sir? I can't.
Okay. So what I'm saying is normal. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So normal, what happens is like all the he assemble those vehicles into the finished good, final good. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So you have to act like a vehicle OEM, electrical vehicle OEM, the final the person manufacturing the final vehicle. Okay.
Okay. Assembling the part, assembling the components.
Yeah. So assembling the component, but it doesn't mean that whatever is available in the market you will bring and you will assemble and you will roll out a vehicle. Okay. So you have to be proactive in first of sourcing good proper items or developing those items. Okay. If they are not available in the market, you have to go for development also. Okay. So you have some vehicle in your mind. If you would go to the market, if the parts are normally available, you would source them. Otherwise, what you would do, you will develop them. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
So Renuka, I think we are done with the queries. So
yes.
So maybe like we can wind up for today. Nabangshuji, you want to add something?
No, I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I think there's a 2 hands still there, the Shiva, Teja and Lakhan.
So
I already,
yeah, Shiva.
I have already done it.
Hello.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, you have raised your hand. So you have any doubt left, or you are done with it?
No, sir.
Okay. So Lakhan, you also have a doubt, or you have like it's raised you have already like your question has been clarified?
Clarified, sir. Already clarified.
Okay. So like Renuka, we are done with all the queries. So maybe we wind up for today.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, and thank you for participation for everyone.
Thank you, and thank you, Renuka. Thank you, Nabangshuji, and thank you to all the students. And we look forward to like next session on Friday.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.